Welcome to today's Energy Wednesday. I keep on saying that I have lost count, but maybe about number 12, I think. I've certainly been doing them, running them throughout the summer, and we'll have 2 or 3, possibly 4 left until the clocks change. So some of you will be able to work that out, probably about 3. So we have covered quite a bit of energy medicine in these sessions so far. From just opening up the joints, that's just working with making space in our bodies because energy likes to flow. We work with the daily energy routine as taught by Donna Eden. We've brought in a little bit of Jin Shin through Jin Shin Tara, and we've traced our meridians. We've worked with the rhythms of nature. So we've done quite a bit, and I know I've heard, I've had great feedback from many of you, and I know a few of you are already practicing this on a daily basis, which is great because energy medicine is all about really shifting our habits and to make a new story in our lives. And to shift our habits, a lot of it is about practice, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a very slow process, because sometimes change can happen in an instant. But our bodies have a very strong survival system, which is great, which is why we're all here right now. And we've all gone through several challenges in our life. And I'd say many of us have been through quite a few challenges in the last couple of years. So we have a wonderful survival system. And that survival system wants to keep us safe. And it likes to keep us back into our old habits, because it tells ourselves that these habits kept us safe before, but we want to evolve, we want to thrive, and we like to stay safe at the same time. So what I'm going to be doing today is I'll be taking it very much from Donna Eden's program, although we've been mixing and matching a little bit. And I am going to see now, it might need a little bit of unmuting here, but we're going to see if we can find a way of testing our own energy, which is an interesting one. So, and yeah, it's fun as well. So I am just going to stand up here. When we're testing our own energy, what it is that we're wanting is that we're wanting our body to communicate with us. So we're wanting our body to say, yes, that's a direction of strength for me, or no, that doesn't resonate. So one of the simplest ones is not necessarily one that necessarily always resonates with everybody, is to stand up and to feel your feet now nicely on the ground, just connected into the ground, to take a couple of breaths, to smile, and if it feels safe and if it feels comfortable for you, to close your eyes, because nobody else is interested in the result that you're getting. And the result that you get is particular to you. So close your eyes, take another breath in and out. And just ask your body that it's going to sway. Now I'm going to be quite particular. It's either going to sway forwards or back. And you're going to ask your body, so body, I'm going to ask you, what's the direction for yes? And what's the direction for no? So can you please show me the direction for yes? Okay. And then you just still with your hands at your solar plexus, then say, can you show me the direction for no? Okay. So can I get thumbs up if everybody managed to, if their body moved with thumbs up, thumbs up. Anybody want to put their thumbs down if they didn't get any reaction whatsoever. So it's all thumbs up, okay? And thumbs down, okay? So that's fine. I would just be very, just be observant. So there is another exercise. What you could do is a little bit, I didn't ask anybody to prepare, of course I'm prepared. Another exercise you could do is you could have a fairly heavy handbag, or I mean, kettles aren't great because they're full of water. I've got a jug that's got quite a lot of stones in it, so it's quite heavy. But you'd need to have something that you can just lift and start. We would start from, I will just show it to you because it's maybe not possible for you to get just now. But I would just start with my arm outstretched, and I would ask for a true statement. So I will say, my name is Claire, and I can easily lift that. And then I will say, I am the Pink Panther, and I can't lift it. So, and that's just, you know, and if it's too light for you, you'll just go, yeah, I can lift them both. So it has to be something that you can just lift to this level. The other way, if you ended up lifting it from the side, that's a different test. So the side would just be up to there. And so if I was saying, you know, my name is Claire, that's easy. And then I'll say, I'm in California today. It's harder for me to lift it. So that's an alternative one. And it may be that you go back to this pendulum one and that you find that it works for you. And a third test here is by using one of the muscles, major muscles in your body. So people you use different tests, but I'm going to lift my right thigh up, and you can't quite see it just now with the screen. I'm lifting my right thigh up, and it's to be parallel to the ground. I'm just going to push down on it, and I'm going to push up with it. So I'm just going to meet my resistance so that I can't push it down. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pinch in the belly of the muscle and then push against it, and I can't keep it up there. So that's 3 different forms of self-test. And if you can't get one, don't worry, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And sometimes it can be the language that you use to your body. But generally, by saying, show me the direction for yes, show me the direction for no, is a fairly neutral thing to do. So did anybody go backwards for yes? Okay, so you went backwards for yes. So I think first of all, what we will do is we will we'll take our spoon, and we're going to do something unusual with the spoon. We're not going to lift something up to eat it. We're going to put the spoon on the bottom of our feet, because we're all in front of a computer, and a computer itself can be a little bit scrambling. And what the spoon does, it's a little bit unusual. Our spoons, as long as they're stainless steel, not titanium or another kind of cheaper metal, stainless steel spoons have iron. They have iron filings in them, and the iron filing connects with the iron in our blood, in the hemoglobin of our blood. And iron is an incredibly strong electromagnetic conductor. So what that does is it helps actually align all of our cells as far as their polarity is concerned. So really important that we actually, it's another way of helping to ground ourselves. It's wonderful to be in nature. It's wonderful to be on our bare, in our bare feet in nature and being able to ground like that. But sometimes it's just not possible. So by spooning your feet can be a nice way to help ground yourself. And it's a lovely thing to do at nighttime if you can't sleep, because sometimes there's just so much going on in your head and you need to ground down. I'd say more so now than ever before. So we'll just do that again, and for the person that said they noticed they went backwards, we'll see if there's been a different response just to that first self-test. And Angela, you can just try it again, and if you find that you don't like that one, you can use one of the other ones. So we'll breathe in and out. And you can either ask your body the direction for yes, or say something like you know that is a true statement. So that it's Wednesday today, or say the colour of the top that you're wearing, or my name is. So I'm just going to I'll say a positive statement. And then say something that is not true for your body. So I'll say I'm wearing a red jumper. So Christine, it looks like your direction has changed. Yeah. So the reason why your direction has changed, because probably your direction was in a different way earlier on, because your polarity was off. So, and that's your electromagnetic polarity. And that's something that's a really good thing to do, to check in every day. So to check your polarity, what you are going to do, so to correct it, it's about spooning your feet, but to check it, put a hand above your head. And we don't need to, we don't necessarily need to, we need to stand up for this, or unless you're doing the muscle test on your leg or lifting a weight. And then bring our hands down to our solar plexus and see which way our body goes. And then turn our hand the other way. So we've got the back of our hand to the back of our head, and see which way your body goes. And if you didn't get an answer with that, you can use one of the other ones. You can either lift a weight, or you can use one of the big muscles and see. But the way to correct that is to spoon your feet, or to get out in nature. And I can see what Wendy was doing. She was drinking some water, which may help, because water is very much, is obviously so important for the electromagnetic functioning of every single cell in our body. And you may say, well, what's the point of checking my energy? I just need to spoon my feet, or I just need to get outside into the grass. But our body likes to have habits, and sometimes we may not end up spooning our feet or getting out into the grass. And sometimes it's at times that we are most upset and irritated and frustrated that we don't actually manage to catch ourselves. They say awareness is so much of the issue, because once we're aware that we're getting into a pattern, well, that's actually all it maybe really will need, because I trust that once we know that our polarity is off, we correct it, and we don't necessarily need to go, oh, right, get the spoon, I'll do this. But initially, our body needs to have the ways to do these things to basically to train our mind. So that's a lovely way of correcting, of testing for yourself, of testing for your polarity and checking it. And the other thing that you can do is you can check and see whether your energies are crossing over. Now, you probably will see in this Zoom screen that everybody is in little boxes. And between these little boxes are parallel lines. So you could either focus on these parallel lines. I can also look at my window, because I've got a window frame and I've got two parallel lines in it. So we can put our hands on our solar plexus, or if we're going to lift a weight or test a muscle, that's a different one. But we look at these two parallel lines and we'll see which way does our body go. And now what I'm going to do, I've actually got parallel lines here, so it may be easier for you all to watch that there. So you can try that. Okay, and then I'm going to change it. And we're looking at a cross. And you're going to see, is your body moving in the same direction as it was for the parallel lines? Or is it moving in an opposite direction? And I'll tell you what the answer should be, because the parallel lines is, if we imagine just going through our lives like this, we're going through our lives like we can't really see beyond the edges of our eyes. We're wanting to keep things, safe. I saw a lady today, and she just recently had surgery, and so she's in a state of healing. And so her body was in this state here because actually, she needs to rest and she needs to recover. So when our body is very, very intelligent, but we end up being in that, carrying on like this in life, we're going to miss a lot of the vastness of life, because our body does this to keep us safe and not to explore. So what we would want is actually for us to get a nice strong test when we see the crosses, and going back the way when we see the parallel lines. And if it's the opposite for you, don't worry. It's just being kind to your body. And the way to correct it is by doing the crossover shoulder pulls. So hands here on our shoulders and down to the opposite hip. Hands here and down to the opposite hip. Here and down to the opposite hip. And here and down to the opposite hip. And the other way of correcting that is to help our energies to cross over is just by doing a gentle, what's called a cross crawl. So I'm bringing my hands, imagine what I'm doing with my hands is I'm making them into a big figure of 8 on its side. Okay, so that's crossing it over. That's a lovely thing to do when you're also in front of a computer, because by doing figure of 8s, it's going to help your energies cross over. Okay, so far we've now known that we've been able to check for our polarity. So, and it's a difficult thing to say, well, why now are you putting your hand on your head? But basically the back of our head has north polarity as far as the earth is concerned, and the palm or the soft part of our hand has got a south polarity. So one is one should give a nice strong result, saying that we're standing properly on our feet, and the other one should give a backwards result. So this is just giving you a little bit more, just to explain sometimes why we do some of the exercises in the daily energy routine. I'm going to go to do a couple more. So the next things that we do is we want to see is our energies grounding down. And I think by now can you put your hands on a particular part of the body to show me what you would do for grounding down? We cover it most weeks. Yep. So if we want to find that our energies are grounding down, well, what we can do is, before we do that correction, is we're going to touch to where that comes off our body. So we're actually going to touch our second toes, and I can do it I can cheat, because I can take my right foot onto my left second toe and my left foot onto my right second toe, or I can bend down and I can touch them. And then I would do an energy test, because your body's quite intelligent. You can have there can be a 3 seconds, approximately 3 seconds between doing the test and then doing the correction. So I'm seeing a lot of you going forward, so that's great. And if you hadn't gone forward, you can tap your cheekbones. And it just helps you be a little bit more. I mean, I remember somebody saying to me, oh, I wouldn't do an exercise unless I needed it. And I thought, well, I would just do it. But it's interesting to notice what exercises you need the most. And if you had gone backwards with that one, or if you had not had a strong test, you can retest after you've done that. And it's quite remarkable. So that's grounding down. And if we're grounding up, we're bringing energy up from the soles of our feet, sucking that up from the earth, up to the end point of our kidney meridian. And that helps our energies move forward. So we know that point that we tap is under our collarbones. So we can just hold these points. And then either I'm going to do a self-test with a muscle, or I can hold the points and then bring my hands to my solar plexus and see whether my body goes forward or back. And we all look very serious, so we can still smile. And then you can do the correction. Tap, 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 tap. And the way that the students learn it is that they walk forwards and they get tested, or they test themselves, and then they walk back. And that's to see, is there energy moving forwards? So by tapping at this point under our collarbones, that means that we are encouraging energy from the earth to come up through the bottom of our feet and up to this area. And then it will go a little bit further. So a couple more that we could do. One other one that was important, and I saw Wendy do, is actually to see whether we're dehydrated, whether we are hydrated. We could drink lots and lots of water during the day, but the water might not actually get into our cells. So one of the ways that you can check for dehydration is by actually pulling on your hair. Now, you might say, well, how can I do that for somebody who's bald? Well, you can probably pull on their eyebrow. How can I do it for somebody who's got alopecia? That means they've got no hair. Well, you can pull the skin of the ear there, because apparently that's the last part in the body to get to lose water. So we would do that, and then we would do, or pull our hair, and then we would do an energy test. And if we didn't get a strong result, or even if we did get a strong result, we can take a little bit of water. Cheers. And basically, that's what we do as far as self-testing is concerned. So we are just checking in with our body, and we're touching a particular point of our body, and we're asking it a question and saying, is there anything that you're wanting to tell me? So you could actually do that on any of your organs. You could actually check with your liver. And it doesn't mean that there's a problem that you need to go to see your doctor, but you could hold your hands over your liver and with intention say, I'm just going to check and see how my liver is. And then you may say, well, oh my goodness me, if I don't get a strong result, what am I going to do? Well, one of the things you can do is give some figure of eights, do an 8 over it. You can go and see an energy medicine practitioner, because if you felt that you had any symptoms, and then they could show you how to work with your liver meridian. So I just use that as an example, checking into your liver. But one of the things that I was going to do today is that we were going to work with our chakras. And our root chakra is at our pubic bone. Our second chakra is over our pelvis. Our third chakra is at our solar plexus. And these are all energy centers of our body. The fourth is at our heart. The fifth is at our throat. The sixth is at our third eye above our bridge of our nose. And the seventh is at the top of the head. So, no problem, Sue, thanks very much. So you could actually say, my intention is that I'm going to check into my chakras and hold one particular chakra and an energy test. And then all the way up. And there's a lot that you can do, that we can do for ourselves, because even by bringing it to our attention, well, then we would say, well, do we know what theme that's about? So the first one is about our safety and security. The second one is to do with our pelvic organs and our gut instinct. Our third one is to do with our willpower. Our fourth is our heart. Our fifth is communication. And our sixth is, our intuition. And seventh is connection to the cosmos. So you're not going to do any harm by inquiring and being curious with what your body is trying to tell you. Because there's so much that there's so many different ways that our body tries to communicate with us, and we don't listen. And modern medicine is very remarkable in so many ways, with all the advances and all the different technologies and surgeries, and it's amazing what we can do. But unfortunately, what it tends to do is cut the wires to the dashboard. If it's making a noise, we'll just be quiet. And actually what we want to do is be able to say, can we listen to our body? Is there a way that we can become more mindful about this vehicle that we are occupying? So I hope you found this helpful. This is certainly more to be about empowering, and not to be worrying and anybody saying, oh my goodness me, I've got a problem with my liver, or oh my goodness me, I'm finding all these things wrong with me. Because if there's anything that you find that's not got, it's confusing, or you can certainly check in with an energy medicine practitioner, or you can just give give it love and gratitude. Kelly Goots is one of the teachers, one of the faculty from Eden Energy Medicine, and she trained with Darren Weissman. I know a couple of other of my colleagues have done that, and he uses this. It's like Star Trek, but infinite love and gratitude. And remarkably, by finding anything by bringing love and gratitude to any part of our body, is very harmonizing and balancing. So I'm not saying don't do the exercises, because the exercises are really important. They're good for our mind. It gives our mind something to do. And the more consciousness we bring to the exercises, and the more awareness that we have of what we are doing. So this here was checking our polarity. So that's why we spoon our feet. That's why we say get outside into the grass with bare feet. That's why we do the exercise, you know, connecting heaven and earth. Why do we tap our cheekbones? Because that's to help us ground right down. The stomach meridian goes right down the front of the body to our second toe. Why do we do this? Because that's our kidney meridian that comes all the way up to here. So that then helps our energies move forward. And yes, it's important to drink water and have our energies crossing over. And I think if you are able to have your energies crossing over, if you can make sure that your polarity is correct, that you are actually standing on your feet rather than energetically standing on your head, and drink water, that is probably about 70% of the way there. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that has been helpful. And certainly if you would like to check in and have, you know, you can contact me if you would like a health and energy consult. I'm very happy to do that. There are some energy medicine practitioners, or certainly trainee practitioners, on this call as well. So if you wanted to have a virtual practice session with anybody, that's another thing that I'd be happy to facilitate. And I can certainly get people saying, no, not me, please. But we're working in the COVID pandemic has changed things. We are doing things a lot more virtually, and also learning to test ourselves and treat ourselves than always relying on somebody else. So do drop a note in the chat, or do contact me if there's anything particular that you would like to cover for the next 2 or 3 weeks. But this is really about consolidating what we have done, and I will certainly be continuing with more offerings into the autumn and winter. So I'm just going to put the recording off and we can have a chat.